Welcome to another episode of Simply Stamping with Cindy. Today I'm going to introduce you to the circle card Thinlit die. There are 10 pieces with this set. I'm going to show you the measurements for the basic card and then for a card with an extra panel. The basic card measurements are 5.5 by 6. And then you just put the framelit like so and run it through the big shot. The die will cut and score the cardstock for you. Here's what the card looks like once it is cut, and I have already folded it on the score lines. Now I'm going to show you some examples that I have made with the standard card size. One of the things I've noticed or kind of stumbled upon is that if you like to add layers for extra layering like I do, the 2.5 circle punch fits perfect in this circle. And then if you use the framelit that came with it as well, that'll give you another layer, another piece for layering as well, and you'll see that in another example. Here's another example. Of my circle die card, and I used a couple of the accessories that came with it that cut out thanks, and I added them on this side as well. And this says sending many thanks, so I thought a few extra thanks in there, they would get the idea of sending many thanks. For this next example, I use some of the washi tape. Kept it simple, just cut the circle with the 2.5 circle punch. Hello Lovely. I used a decorative label punch. I just used another piece here, and then the You Make Me Happy. Did some punching and layering here. Used a candy button there for this card example. For this next birthday one, I used some designer paper to give it a different look. And what I have found is that if you cut the designer paper with the die, then if you wanted to trim a little bit around the edges, that gives it a nice little look for layering as well. And this is an example of the circle, the scallop framelit that I used there. And then a little message over here as well. Here's another example. Just a simple card, did some stamping on here, layering, flower punches, pearls, a message on this side, and just some designer paper strip along this other side. And my last example for the basic card measurements is my wedding card. This one I did something a little different. I made the Mr. and Mrs. kind of floating, and I kept it very simple. I just cut the circle out, a little bit of baker's twine in between the panels, added some glimmer paper, and on this here I did emboss the edges with an embossing folder and add a little sentiment for this card. Now, for the extended card panel, the measurements here are 5.5 by 8.5. And what I've noticed, and I've learned from others, is that if you cut down the 5.5 piece by just 1/16 of an inch, it'll fit nice into the die. And basically, to give you that extra panel, is you want to put your cardstock over the edge of that, like so. Run it through your Big Shot, and what will happen is this side here will give you another score line for your extra panel. So here's what it looks like when it comes out. I've already folded it on my score lines. And then this panel can fold in. And then you just have a nice little extra panel there. So I'll show you my example for the card with the extra panel. This one's got a little bling to it. And what I did here is I used the snowflake framelits as well. I punched out the circle with the glimmer paper. I added a strip of glimmer paper. I ran the designer paper through the Big Shot with the die, trimmed it up a little bit, added a sentiment here, did some stamping in here, and then I gave myself an extra panel here if I wanted to write an extra message to the recipient of this card. So I hope you have found this video helpful, and I hope you have enjoyed my samples. And don't forget to visit my blog at Simply Stamping with Cindy. Thank you.